Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the Minecraft Emporium. In today's video, I have a bit of a treat for you. Because while super smelters can be incredibly fast and incredibly efficient, they still use and require fuel. And while you can harvest that fuel automatically, something that's always interested me is that you can cook on a campfire without using any fuel whatsoever. And so while, of course, a fully automatic smoker system was perfectly acceptable in a Minecraft world, I just wanted to give you a little tutorial and a little showcase of this contraption right here. Something that continuously cooks food on top of campfires as the player rolls around it. And if I'm going to demonstrate it for you, you can clearly see just how fast a system like this actually is. What you do is stand on top of the system like so, look straight down, and hold down right click. The speed of the water is perfectly timed, such that the player continually plants 4 pieces of fuel within the campfires down below, and that as soon as they wrap all the way around the system, that the campfires are finished cooking. As you can see, now we're facing down on the other side of the iron bars to continue this row of smokers. And as we come around, just to reiterate, you will see that as soon as we start planting the new kelp onto the campfires, the previous batch is just finishing. As you can see from the side of the screen, all of that dry kelp is popping off, and, well, we're coming in to plant a new batch. What's fascinating about this is that while most super smelters do, say, a batch of items, this is continuous cooking. So while the beginning might be a little slow, if you just keep coming around and around and around this machine, you're continuously cooking a single piece of kelp at the speed that you can possibly right-click. And it doesn't use any fuel in the slightest. And as we're coming around, I'm going to leave the system and wait for things to trickle into the barrel. I might as well tell you some of the mechanics and decision choices for how this build works. There are exactly 40 campfires inside of this contraption, 2 sets of 20, and the reason why we're standing on top and planting beneath us is simply because of the fact that if you were to plant from the sides, the campfires often eject the finished product off to the sides and up above and all around to the other sides, and it gets really messy when dealing with item collection. However, in a system such as this one, you can clearly see that as soon as the campfire is finished cooking, it pops up, hits the iron bars, and is collected down into the hoppers below. It is just so much simpler to do. You may also be wondering why we don't use a system such as this, with a minecart going back and forth. And the reason for that is that it is simply too fast. If I was to get myself a minecart real quick, you will see that we're losing a tremendous amount of efficiency because we're constantly moving too quick for things to handle. Alright, let's see if I can hit myself in, and as you can see, we're planting maybe 1 at maximum 2 pieces as we go along, and this is just simply not efficient enough for maximum smelting. Having all these gaps inside of the campfires means you have an unnecessarily long minecart track. But with this system, the water moves us slow enough so that we're placing 4 pieces of meat, potatoes, kelp, etc. on top of the campfires before we move on to the next campfire. Hopefully some of these things have been finished draining, and you can clearly see that in the short time we went around 2 loops, we have cooked this amount of kelp without fuel in the slightest. And so while it is perfectly up to you as to whether all of that kelp that I've just shown you made without fuel is better or worse than a fully automatic system, I suppose now is a great time to get into the tutorial for this build right here. Materials list, as always, is down in the description, and yeah, let's crack into it. First thing you're going to want to do is place down a line of 20 hoppers next to a barrel. As we can see here, I'm going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Then we're going to duplicate that setup precisely by adding yet another barrel here and going another 20 blocks out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Next thing we're going to do is build up a little inner chamber of glass, and you can remove that bottom part there, just so that all of the items surrounding the campfires are not lost and expelled outside of the system. We're going to bring a line of glass, or solid blocks technically, around the side of this build, just like so, and then after doing that onto the other lane, we're going to start adding the campfires, believe it or not, into this campfire-only smelter. Again, dragging these lines of blocks all the way back over top of the barrels, we can now add the campfire. On Bedrock Edition, unfortunately, campfires are not stackable, and so this is going to be a lot harder in survival, but nonetheless, I think you can manage perfectly fine. Next thing we're going to do, yikes, that's a lot of smoke, is add a iron bar on top of every single one of these campfires, dragging it all the way along and placing one on the end, just like so. Again, dragging the iron bars on top of the campfires all the way around until you get to the end. What I like to do is place a glass block here and a glass block here, just so that the iron bars connect all the way. And what we're also going to do is add a scaffolding block in this position here and in this position here. Scaffolding allows the player to stand on top of it while not allowing the iron bars to connect over and block our line of sight. Next thing we're going to do is build a little second chamber around the iron bars that the player is actually sitting in. So we're just going to build a similar frame on top of each of these sides with a row down the middle once we finish these outer rows. Hold on. Again, bring these glass blocks all the way around, and what we're going to do next is start installing the water. A bit of a tedious process, but something that is quite easy to manage. Again, bringing all these glass blocks across, and then bringing a center line of blocks across just like so. Gosh, this is so fast and creative. So what we're going to do is now we're going to install some of the systems that will actually push the player around inside of the water stream. So one of the best ways to do that is by adding a double sign effect here, and then drop a bucket of water down the sides. This will cascade all the way across the iron bars, and what we're going to do is continue this process of adding signs in order to block the passage of water all the way around, such that the 8 blocks that the water travels perfectly connects to each of the different areas that we need. In this case scenario here, what we're going to do is add a sign there, and then a bucket of water here. Hopefully I'm not going too fast, but again, the process is very, very self-explanatory. On sections such as these, you keep adding a 2x2 of glass, just like so, placing a sign, another sign, and then water down the center. Again, very, very simple process, something that really anyone can do, and hopefully it works out well for you guys who are building this in your Minecraft worlds. Finally, adding another bucket of water, which loops around just like so, and pushes the player through. Ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, this cooker is actually completely finished. So if you did enjoy, consider subscribing, liking, or commenting. Spent a long time trying to design this, so any feedback, any comments, or anything like that would truly make my day. Other than that, take care and have a splendid day.